You know, this quote really hits home, doesn't it? If you've been dealing with persistent reflux, you've probably felt this in your bones. It feels like you've tried absolutely everything, but that nagging feeling that something's just not right, it just won't go away. It's that constant battle, right? That burning sensation, second guessing every single meal, feeling like your own body is working against you. You're here because you've got a hunch there's a missing piece to your puzzle, and you're ready to find it.
Well, you're in the right place. In this explainer, we're going to put on our detective hats and look for clues together. This isn't about fighting our bodies anymore. It's about finally understanding them.
So here's our mission. We're going to calmly and honestly look at every single possible cause. I'm talking about the stuff you've heard a million times, but also the things that almost nobody talks about. The real goal here is to uncover your personal path back to feeling good. Okay, so where does any good investigation start? You got it, with the usual suspects. First things first, we have to line up the most common causes of GERD and be really, really honest about whether they've truly been ruled out. And you might be thinking, oh, the basics again, but check this out. For a whopping 80% of people, getting a real handle on these common factors is where true recovery actually begins. It's foundational. All right, let's group our first set of suspects. I call these the pressure suspects. Just think about it. Things like excess weight, bending over a lot, pregnancy, or even just a huge meal, they all physically crank up the pressure inside your abdomen. It's literally like squeezing a tube of toothpaste right in the middle. Of course, stuff is going to get pushed up where it doesn't belong. Next up on our list are the relaxant suspects. These are the things that chemically weaken a super important muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter, or LES for short. Just think of the LES as this little one-way door at the top of your stomach. Its only job is to keep everything down. But things like smoking, alcohol, and even some medications can basically make that door lazy and loose, which makes reflux way, way more likely. Now, this is where the investigation gets really interesting, because sometimes what looks and feels exactly like GERD just isn't. You've got these two main imposters, rumination syndrome and eosinophilic esophagitis. And here's the big clue, the dead giveaway. They don't get better with standard antacids. This is why a proper diagnosis is absolutely critical. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels and getting nowhere. So that brings us to a crucial checkpoint. This is where we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. Before we start digging for these deeper hidden clues, have we really covered the basics? And more importantly, have we been consistent? Let's just run through this together, okay? Have you actually seen a specialist? Are you elevating the entire head of your bed, not just propping up pillows? That really doesn't work. Are you leaving a solid 3-hour gap between your last bite and bedtime? Have you reviewed your meds with your doctor? If you can confidently say yes to all of this for at least 2 to 3 months and you're still struggling, then, and only then, is it time to dig deeper. All right, so if you've checked all those boxes, now we're venturing into some different territory. We're looking at the less common, often overlooked causes. This is where that powerful connection between our mind, our emotions, and our physical body really comes into play. And a huge piece of this puzzle is something called intra-abdominal pressure. See, chronic stress isn't just in your head. It physically changes the way you breathe. It can cause you to constantly clench your diaphragm without even realizing it. And that tension just ratchets up that internal pressure, making reflux all but inevitable. And that pressure can be made even worse by other structural stuff. Adhesions from past surgeries can literally pull on your organs, messing with digestion. Serious bloating can push your diaphragm up, squeezing your stomach from below. And that tense, spasming diaphragm we just talked about, it can directly interfere with that all-important LES valve, keeping it from closing properly. Okay, get ready for this one. I'm going to ask a question that might just flip everything you thought you knew about reflux on its head. We always assume the problem is too much acid, right? I mean, that's what's coming up. But what if the real problem is actually too little? Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but this is a real thing called the low acid paradox. When you don't have enough stomach acid, your digestion just grinds to a halt. Food sits there and ferments, creating gas and pressure, and it's that pressure that can force the stomach's contents, including what little acid you do have, upward. It's a complete 180 from what most of us assume is happening. And there's another imposter we have to consider. That burning sensation you're feeling, it might not be acid at all. It could be bile, which is alkaline, backing up from your small intestine into your stomach and esophagus. And that, my friend, requires a completely different treatment plan. So as we wrap up our investigation, let's just try to reframe this whole experience. What if this isn't a battle to be won? What if these symptoms are simply signals? Your body is trying to tell you something really important. The truth is, there's no magic pill that works for everyone because everyone's path to reflux is unique. This journey is about empowering yourself through understanding. It's about becoming a detective for your own body to find your personal root cause. And let's end with this powerful idea. Your body isn't your enemy. It's not trying to sabotage you. It's simply asking for your attention, asking you to listen to what it needs so it can find its balance again. And that's really the question this whole explainer has been leading up to, with all these potential clues laid out, from the mechanical to the chemical to the emotional. What new avenues can you explore? What is your body trying to tell you?